take you back to the winter of 1993. My husband and I are living in Boston. We're newly married, and we're kind of early on in our A-type, high-octane business careers. And so we were working all the time. We didn't have much time for fun. And as avid backpackers and climbers, we longed for time in nature. So, hallelujah, we managed to escape for a long weekend backpacking trip in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. We were enchanted by the notion of meandering into this frozen, wintry wonderland, breathing in the smell of the pines, feeling the crunch, crunch, crunch of the snow beneath our snowshoes, and snuggling up next to a campfire at night. So in preparation for this trip, we bought every winter camping gizmo and doodad our young wallets could afford. So there we were in this beautiful, pristine winter wonderland with 80 pounds each on our backs. Now, our dream vacation backpacking trip, probably the only one we were going to get that year, turned into a nightmare. We had welts on our shoulders, blisters on our feet, sweat-soaked base layers. We were seduced by the allure of more. And we didn't just have more on our backs. You might say that we were moron backpackers. So after a bunch of trips like that, we took all of those learnings, and my husband and I founded an outdoor company on the basic notion that when it comes to connection in the outdoors and your gear, less really is more. And we really had found the key to fun and freedom in the outdoors, and it was simple: go light. So let's talk about the culture of more. When we think about the word more, we think more money, more sex, more friends, more respect, more success, more power, right? So where does all this fascination with more come from? From the rise of industrial capitalism at the turn of the 20th century. Suddenly, mass-produced products were available to everyone. Life-enhancing products that raised the standard of living. Suddenly, we had more freedom, more education, more wealth, higher wages, and more democracy. But let's talk about some of the things that also came with that. Suddenly, we filled our days from morning to night with no time to breathe. And we had so many choices. As a society, we were consumed with the consumption of things. Now, tell me, why do we need 24 flavors of ranch dressing? So is it any wonder what this obsession with more has wrought on a global basis? Folks, we're gobbling up the planet, and well, we're not having a heck of a lot of fun while we're doing it. Capitalism is a good thing, but it has lost its way, and so have we. Now, I get the allure of more. I know the power of the dark side. I think to myself, I will look so hot, so powerful, and so sexy in those shoes. I've got to have them. So I plunk down my credit card, and I have that immediate rush of gratification. And I take them home in their fancy packaging, and I stand in front of the full-length mirror, and I put them on my feet. And I have that sickening realization of just how much I put on my credit card. And that they freaking hurt my feet. And what's left after that initial rush but emptiness and pain? Fast forward to 2002, my husband and I are building an awesome company. We have product awards and media hits coming out our ears. We are growing internationally, and we're riding this huge wave of traditional business success. But we're working more than 100 hours a week. We're pouring capital in. We're buying ad buys for a single page that costs more than $20,000 each. We're buying trade show booths that cost more than a house. And, you know, all of that was in the pursuit of more market share, more growth, more recognition, more success. You know, can you see the irony of building a company all about less, but living all of your time in the land of more? And what did it really get us? It got us less time with each other, less time with family, less time with friends, less time in spiritual pursuit, less time working out, and ironically, less time in nature. We were running our business like the moron backpacker. Now, I want to be honest and tell you that the seduction of more led me personally down a very, very dark path. I was emotionally, spiritually, and physically so worn out and so out of balance that I spent the next 8 years having 5 miscarriages, 3 failed in vitro fertilization rounds, and spending a fortune in Western and Eastern medical treatments. Can you imagine seeing your baby's heartbeat at 12 weeks via ultrasound, only to find out a few weeks later that the baby had died in your belly? Why are we so afraid of the word less? We think we'll have lack. We think we'll be judged. We think we won't have enough. We're worried what other people will say. And all of that is rooted in fear. But good people, what the heck are we afraid of? We are living in a civilization with so much prosperity and abundance and wealth. Happiness, when it comes from buying things and stuff, is fleeting and therefore an illusion. Let's reframe the word less. Less doesn't mean lack. Less doesn't mean lack. Less means less stress, less anxiety, less anger, less worry, and more happiness, joy, connection, and abundance. So, after 8 years of fertility treatments and trying everything to try to have a child, I was brought to my knees. And everything in me screamed, "Stop!" So I did. I got quiet. I stopped being CEO of the company that I co-founded. I stepped off boards. I eliminated commitments. I stopped chasing every notion I'd been told was my ticket to happiness. And I stopped with the attachments and all those things that weren't serving me, like self-judgment and blame and stress and worry. And after I cleared out the clutter of my life, and I spent time in nature, and I reconnected with my family and my friends, and I started to sing again, and I spent time in prayer, this was the result. Let's be honest. I have trained and worshiped at the high altars of more. But I know in my bones the abundance and joy that comes from less. Make no doubt, we all have the power to turn away from the dark side, to choose a different path, to change the rules of the game, to reverse the destructive forces we have wrought on humanity and our biosphere. Now, I'm in the business of selling you things, but what if we all bought fewer things? And when we did buy things, we bought from brands and companies that were aligned with our values. What if we trusted and had faith that on the other side of this wall, this illusion, this falsehood of more, is a life of abundance and joy just waiting for us? Now, I want to leave you with a question. What is that abundance, that joy that your heart aches for? And what can you have less of to make room for it?